Hello everyone, it's Jennifer, and thank you so much for joining me today. We are actually going to be working with the Rainbow Tourmaline, and this is I have the double gemstones beads of the month club from Adornable Elements, and we're actually going to be working with the little tiny, they're 2 by 3 millimeter little faceted saucer beads, and then also some chip beads. And I just picked them up in random order and made a few components. I did about 99% of the work, and I thought that I would come back for the very last component. And then I pulled some of the darker of the chip beads, and I think there's a couple more in here that I missed because I'm going to make another bracelet. So we're going to make a bracelet from start to finish, but in the meantime, I'm going to finish up making this necklace. And what else did I use? I used this gorgeous toggle that was included in the Finding Companions pack. And that is, I have it here too. The Findings Companion Pack, and this is all the stuff that we have. So what I did was I took the little tiny, I have some 22 gauge, and this is craftwire from, that's the 24 gauge. I have 22 gauge craftwire from Softlex Company. It looks like I only have out the 18, the 20, and 24. The 22 is probably off on my other table. So, but that's what I have. And what I did was I just took a bunch of rounds out and started making my components. So far I've made 5 components, and I only have this much waste. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so I do have some random jump rings. I have a couple of little daisy spacers, and this is from my stash, so I do not remember where I got that. But what else did I get? Oh, I have some paperclip chain, and this I got from Jesse James Beads. So we're going to go ahead and finish up the very last component. And like I said, I just randomly, when I made these components, I just picked up a bunch. For my first component, I just picked up a bunch of the chip beads, and then I started making them about the same length. They're not the same number, because if you look in this one, there's a couple of really flat chip beads, and I wanted those to be in the middle. And then on the outside, I have one of the little tiny faceted. So let's go ahead, and I still have all of these chip beads left here. And so we'll use those for another project. All right. And then what I did was I attached to the toggle. This one I used 1 jump ring, and this one I used 2. And I learned this from Kelly at Kelly's Bead Boutique. Because when you add your toggle, the bar piece needs an extra jump ring. And so I added an extra jump ring. It's still not completely even, but it's better than it was, because it was where the component down here was way down here, and there's no way to even it out. So that's what I did. And the jump rings I have are quite large. They're, I think, 5 millimeter, and I know the ones that she uses are 4 millimeter. So the little bit smaller does make a difference, because she would use 3 on that side. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pick up one of the tiny beads, one of the daisy spacers. Then I'm just going to start picking up some of the chip beads, and I'm not going in any particular order. If you struggle to get one through, you don't have to fight it too much. Just go ahead and push that through. And if it doesn't work, then just take it out, because this is 22 gauge wire. I can always use it in a lower gauge wire. Okay, let's go ahead and add another flat one. And I also don't want, I want that one to be at the end. I also don't want the holes to be right next to the edge. That one's kind of flirting with it, but okay, and let's just go about here. And then just, see how I kind of just wiggled that around? And then I just look, and that is about the right size. Then I'll go ahead and add my little daisy spacer and my little tiny bead. Okay. And then I have this end kinked off so that this can just come down this way. All right, I'm going to bring in my chain nose pliers. I'm going to bring in my round nose pliers. I'm going to bring in my cutters and my bent nose pliers. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and come down about an inch, inch and a quarter, and give it that 90-degree angle bend. Okay, so I have that nice bend, nice straight bend, or it's very sharp. It's very sharp. When you use your round nose pliers to make the bend, you don't get that 90-degree angle. And so sometimes it doesn't have the sharpest of corners there. So then I'm going to go ahead and come up about, let's see where I was, because it's been a while since I made these. Yeah, I'm about halfway in between. I have a little mark right here, and then I go about halfway in between that and the end, and that's for mine. Your round nose pliers might be a little different. I'm going to go ahead and just wrap that around and then push to the back and then just get that centered up a little bit. And I'm not going to be wire wrapping this directly on to my other components. I do want a jump ring in between to make it just a little bit more flowy. And as you can see, I kind of bent that back a little bit, and it's just kind of to lock it in place, and then I can get my chain nose pliers right there, because you don't want your chain nose pliers to go over where the wires cross, because if you push down too hard, then you could make that brittle and snap and break, and it's not fun. So I'm going to go around 3 times. I always go around 3 times. There are some times where I only get around twice, and I end up going back off camera and fixing it. Okay, and I'm not going to trim it off yet. And I'm going to tell you why. If I were to trim it off and then I tuck in the end, I might tuck in the end and it kind of go cattywampus. So I go ahead and keep that there. And I know that I am dealing with delicate beads, but it does make a difference for me. So I am going to go ahead and come down just a little bit, not at the tippy tip, because I do have delicate beads and I don't want it to be too crowded. Okay, so let's go ahead and come in. I'm forming this over the top barrel. Go ahead and turn that around, push it to the back, and then get that all nice and evened up. Okay, and is that centered? A little bit. And if it's not completely, we can fix that. Okay, now, since this is the end that I'll still be able to do something with that end, I'm going to go ahead and just use my fingers so that I don't mark up that wire. I'm going to go ahead and you notice I'm not really, I'm pulling on it, but I'm not warming this up any, because you can make it brittle. So I'm going to go ahead and come in the back and give it a little bit of a trim, and that is actually not waste. Then I'm going to come in on this side and go ahead and trim that off, and there's my waste. I'm going to come in here with my bent nose pliers, and I'm going to be very careful with just the tip of my chain nose pliers to just get that to where it's not sticking out any longer. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Even though my cutters do a really good job of getting really, really close in there, these are real pointy cutters, I still like to tuck that piece in. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and grab a jump ring. We only need 2 more jump rings. I had a little more out here than what I needed, but I wasn't completely sure of what I was going to do. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll put double jump rings in between, but then I don't want anything to come from the design. So I thought, no, I'll just go ahead and do 1 jump ring. And again, I cannot remember where these jump rings came from. Okay, now all we're going to do is, I had pre-cut. I wanted a short necklace, and where the components meet the chain is about midway up the neck. And so then you see mostly the gemstones, a little bit of the chain. And if you have short hair, you see all that gorgeous chain. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and put that on there. And close it up. And there we go. Very pretty necklace with the front closure because it's got that gorgeous toggle. And I might come back in and maybe try to find a really small jump ring. So for the picture, I might have that changed up a little bit. I'm going to see if I can find a really small jump ring for that first part to make it more even. So, because when you look at it, it's off by like one jump ring. And if I was to add a whole other jump, oh, that might work. Let's go ahead and just add a whole nother jump ring. I'd rather it be a little off that way. So let's go ahead and add another jump ring. Okay. Let's add another one here. I never knew this until Kelly brought it up and I went, oh, that just answered everything for me because I have a couple of necklaces that I have front toggle and it just didn't sit right. That was it. That was it. Now, by the time you guys see this video, it will have already passed because this is mid-January and I'm probably not going to get this posted until the end of January. But my friend Kelly is actually going to come and stay with me. She's on her way to Tucson. And we know Kelly Sutton from Kelly's Bead Boutique. I'm so excited. Okay, oh, much better. That is way better. Let's see if we can... way more in line. That's awesome. I love it. And so then it will sit, it's not going to be all cattywampus on you like that, but it'll sit on your neck just like that. And it actually does do a little bit better and gets that more even. Gets it a little more even up there. Actually, it's perfect. That's awesome. Okay, so let me go ahead and get these pushed off to the side, get this pushed off to the side. We're going to come back and we are going to go ahead and make up the bracelet using some of these chip beads. And I'm going to bring in some other beads. Might bring in some other beads from other months as well. So hang tight and I'll be right back. We are back and I brought some more materials and actually some gemstones from another month to bring into this project. I also have a 19 strand Extreme Flex beading wire, and this is from Soft Flex Company, and this is in sterling silver. And so we're going to use that. We're going to use from our rainbow tourmaline, we are going to use some of the little 4mm rounds and some of the chip beads that I pulled from the larger, I pulled all of the dark colors from the mix. And then I also pulled some of the dark colors from the little 4mm mix. Then, oh, we're also going to use some craft wire, and I'm going to be using 18 gauge, and this is from Soft Flex Company, as well as some pipe chain, and this is from SilverSilk and more. And what is pipe chain? This is a silicone tubing. It looks like I have something in the middle there. But this is a silicone tubing that has wire wrapped around it. And this is a black color, or it's a real dark rhodium. And I thought that it would look just really pretty and just keep this as a dark bracelet. And then I brought in some of these, they're cushion beads. And this is from the Dalmatian Jasper Beads of the Month Club. And I don't know what month this is from, but I absolutely love that mix. Then I have some 2x2 crimp tubes. These are sterling silver. They are from Soft Flex Company. And I'm using those so that I can use my magical crimpers with the crimp tubes. And what this does is this will actually form a bead-like finish at the end. And if you can see, there's only one well in these crimpers, and I will show you how to use those, and I hope I can get it done correctly on camera. Then what else do we have? Oh, I have some wire guardians. And I have some jump rings. And so we will go ahead and get those put together. These are the same jump rings that I used from before. What else do we need? I think that, oh, and then I have some little silver beads. So I found this little saucer bead and I really love it. I have no idea where it came from. I feel like I have a whole big bag of them somewhere, but I just have the single bead. So I took these little round beads and tried flattening them, and all I ended up getting were some crimp covers out of it because they separated. So they're not high quality. I don't even know where I got them. I think I got them very early on, but they're great for spacer beads. And so I shouldn't say they're not high quality. They do their job and they are great spacer beads. And what I'm finding is that they make great crimp covers too. So they are flat. So they are a little flat. And I thought, well, I'm just going to go ahead and save them because they'll make great crimp covers. All right, something else we need. Oh, for the pipe chain. So we are actually going to stuff our 18 gauge wire in there. And I think I have something already in there. That's really weird. I can see that I have something in there. But let me take this out and we're going to go on this other end. And you can just stuff your wire. And I chose 18 gauge because it does fit in here, but it will hold the form a little bit better than like a 22 gauge or 20 gauge. So we're going to use that. And I forgot, there's different ways to finish off your SilverSilk. You can use some, we can use some single or double. These are singles. Though that's a triple strand, but you can use either a single strand ending that has the loop on it, and this is SilverSilk, and you know it's SilverSilk because it has the SS. There's little teeth inside that will grip on, and so this is, I use these mostly for the capture chain, and because SilverSilk has a wide variety of different chains because it's a ball chain that has the wire wrapped around it. But I've used this for leather as well. But for today, I think what we're going to use is we're going to use an end cap that was specially made for the pipe chain. And it's these little end caps. And I don't think I have, oh, that one has an S on it. Okay, so I know I have some that don't have the SS on it. And so I want to make sure that I'm using the same ones. Oh, that one has an SS on it, and this one has an SS on it. Okay, just want to make sure. I haven't been paying attention because I know some of them do and some of them don't. And yeah, okay, cool. Now what these do is that these will actually fit over that pipe chain to finish it off. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And let's see, I don't know how, I'm going to use 3 for one end and 3 for another. And then I'm going to use 1 on each end. Okay, so I am not going to cut my pipe chain until I get my design all figured out. And I do know that I want 3 on an end because I'm thinking of using toggle clasp. This is from a Bright Silver Findings Companion Pack. And I believe I have a toggle clasp in here that I can use. Let's see. Maybe, maybe not. I do. There's a toggle clasp in there. Okay. That's why these companion packs are so amazing, because I might not use them in the month that I get them, but I will use them. And, oh, there's some nice oval jump rings in there too. Very cool. All right. Okay. Okay, so the reason why I want the small beads on the ends is because when you insert your toggle clasp, you want to be sure that you don't have a large bead on the end, on this end, so because then it won't fit through. So we're gonna go ahead and put those off to the side. And we will just know that we have about, because I'm going to use a wire guardian over here, but on the other side, I'm going to attach it directly. So we're probably going to need about 5 3/4. I'm trying to think of that's probably only about a 1/2 inch or so by the time it's on there and sitting in there. So that's probably about a 1/2 inch. So I want to get at least maybe 6 1/4 or 6 inch, maybe 6 1/4 to get a 1/2 inch. And okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's pull in our beading wire. I'm going to work from the spool because I don't know exactly how much I'm going to use, but I do know that I need 3. I'm going to use 3 on this end. Oops. Let's go ahead and get this. Usually I keep them on the mat. Well, I kind of do it both ways. Okay. All right, then let's go ahead and add a spacer. I really love these little spacer beads. They're a large hole, and I just really like them. Okay, so let's go ahead and add some of these. I don't know how many I want to add, but I'm just going to look at maybe one more. Let's get I love these chip beads. Let's flip it over. I really love them. They are so pretty. And I love all the colors because then here my other project in this video is not dark, but I'm going to choose a different one. It's not dark, but it is not, it doesn't have these dark beads. And so when you have a mix like that, you can really mix up and make different, totally and completely different pieces. All right, so let's go ahead and add one of those Dalmatians. Oh, those colors look really good. I had them on the mat, and I thought they looked really, really good. And so I was just trying to come up with, and the light just came on a little bit more. I was trying to come up with good. Okay, and it's kind of flickery, so I don't know what's going on with my light. Okay, so is that about the same length? About. So then let's go ahead and add that. Let's add another one. I don't know if I'm going to use all 3. And then another little bead. I have so much coming up. And then also too, by the time you see this video, I think everything will be gone as past. So I'm not mentioning a lot about what's upcoming, just because I know that I'm not going to be able to get this video posted quickly. And also too, we've been having issues, and I'm finding that I thought it was our internet, and I've been finding that other people are having issues too. All right, so now let's go ahead and add, I think we're only going to do 2 because I don't want it too long. And then let's add 1, 2, 3. 1. Come on. 2, 3. Okay. There we go there. All right, I dig it. So let's go ahead and finish off one end. And I need a wire. Oh, I need my crimp tube. I might pick a different bead for over here. I do not know why my light keeps on going dim and light. And it's only the light, so I apologize. I thought it was a little dark when I first started recording. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add the wire guardian. So I have the crimp tube, I have the wire guardian. I'm sorry, I got a phone call right when I was recording. All right, so now let's go ahead and just pass that back through. And what I do, which it's not, oh, I need to put the toggle in there before I put it back through. So So, and actually this toggle loop is quite thick, so I might not need, usually I will crimp that closed. I'll close it up a little bit, but the toggle is nice and thick. It's not going to go up against that wire. Now, something else that I want to do, and then also too with using the magical crimper, I don't want to crimp on top of my wire guardian because I do that every time. And what I want to do is I'm going to grab just like a scrap piece of wire because I want a third piece of wire to go through. Okay, so I found a small piece. Now I'm going to go ahead and move these little guys out of the way. So I found a small little piece, and I'm doing this because sometimes with the 19 strand, I like to have an additional strand in there. It just helps me with my with using my crimper. And again, you might not have to do this. I do just because it just helps me out. All right, so now I have that third strand in there. I'm gonna try and pull this over off to the side, and I can very easily just jump ring that toggle on there, but I don't want to. I want to have as much bracelet as possible. So now I have that in, and it's exactly in the middle, and I'm not going to be crimping on top of my wire guardian, and I'm going to go ahead and crimp down. And when I crimp down initially, I get like a little bit of a square, and then I tilt it on its side, and then I put that crimp tube right in the middle again, and then I give it another squeeze, and then I just start turning it. And as I turn it, it is starting to form the little ball. And as I turn and squeeze, when I stop feeling any tension, then I know that I have a secure crimp. And there we go. See, we have like, it looks like a little ball. It almost looks like the little ball here. Okay, so now, and I will trim it one at a time, only because I don't want to accidentally trim the wrong strand. Also too, I feel like I get closer to the bead if I do that. And sometimes if I can, I'll pass it through, especially when I'm using two strands, because then I don't have two little, kind of a little bit of a nubby sticking out. So I tried, let's see if, I don't know if this will go through that bead a second time. And it's not. Well, it feels like it is. And again, I just do this. This is not for security purposes. It is a very secure crimp. So let's see if I can get that forced through, at least enough for me to grab, and I am. And I'm doing this again because I already trimmed one part of, that one section. And then also too, then it sticks. It's nice and tight in there. So again, I want to make sure that I am trimming the right strand. And now I have another little piece there. Then I'm going to come over to this side, grab, and the toggle does get in the way. So that's why sometimes it's just easier to jump ring it. But let's see if I could do it this way instead. So let's get in there, make sure that that's all I'm doing, and give that a trim. And then again, I have some little pieces there. All right. So now let's go ahead and trim off some here. Okay. And I don't want it to be tight, but I don't want a bunch of wire in between. So I'm going to go ahead and just put that on. And on this other side, we'll go ahead and wire wrap that pipe chain on there. Okay. So let's go ahead and then pass this back through like that. Then let's see if we can get it through this one other gemstone too. For me, then I feel like I have a better grip too. Again, some of these holes are just a little too, a little too tight. I don't think I'm gonna get that through. Okay, and I don't want to fight it. All right, so now we're just gonna go ahead and just bring that down, and I'm going to do this with it, right? So I'm making it to where it will wrap around how it will lay on my wrist, okay? Then to give me a little bit more room, then I open it up a little bit. Let's go ahead and pass a third strand through. Or let's go ahead and just knot, and I'll show you if I can make it work with it not. And I pulled on it out of habit. And I need, let's see. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, so now let's go ahead and grab our magical crimpers and get in there and give it a squeeze. So we have a little bit of a squeeze. And again, it's kind of a tight, it is a tight fit there with the crimpers and my wire guardians, and I have massacred my wire guardians before by doing this, but then yet, okay, let's just make sure. Oh, it was a little bit of a tension there, so let's just keep on going. Okay, we're good. And then again, we have that bead-like finish. Give it a little bit of a tug test. It's not going anywhere. So I guess I don't need that third strand anymore. But again, so I save these little pieces. So I will save those little pieces and put them off to the side. And then this one, maybe not, but okay, so we have that. Now what we need to do is we need to figure out how much of the pipe chain we need. So when I do this, right? Okay, so when I do this and I go like so, let's see how much this, I don't know. I need one of those beading mats. That's what I need. Oh, I am going to ask, so my friend Kelly Sutton from Kelly's Bead Boutique, she is going to be stopping by. And by the time you see this video, she's probably already stopped by and gone and at the beach show in Tucson. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to have it, because this around my wrist is about half. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take it from here to here, like that, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and give it a trim. I took off just a little bit. All right, so now what I want to do is pass through. So I'm going to go ahead and take my little quasar fell off here. There we go. Let's smooth this out a little bit. And again, this is 18 gauge wire. Okay, so I'm just smoothing it out a little. Okay, so let's go ahead and add our, oh, you know what? This might not even go through here. Now that I think about it, I might have to choose a different, let's see here. I don't even know. There's the hole right there. It might not go through, and it's not. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and use these little guys, because I know they will go through. Oh my goodness. Okay. And they match. So that's kind of cute. All right, so now, and then I just kind of prime it by taking, now the wire won't fray. You might get little fuzzies like these little guys right here, these little wire fuzzies. You might get those, but I just kind of prime by rolling it on my fingers like that. Okay, and then just stuffing it in there. Okay, so let me see. That's kind of long. I feel like that's long. I feel like that's a little long. So you know what? I'm going to trim off just a little bit more. I'm going to have waste, but what I can do is I can actually use this. I can actually use this for a like an earring or a pendant. I can always find a use for it. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and add our that. And we just have to remember, now when I'm going to be attaching stuff to my wire wrapping, I do forget. I will forget from time to time. And so now I'm going to come down a little bit more than normal, only because I want a larger loop and then getting that wrapped around. I'm probably only going to wrap it around twice. I know I usually do 3 times, but I'm going to actually go a little bit more. And I'm going to bring in my bell making pliers. And even though I want a bigger loop on even the smaller end of the bell making pliers, let's go ahead and do this. Let's do the larger of the small bell making pliers and just form that over and then push to the back. And that is actually centered. Wow. Okay, so go ahead and pull that away. Okay. Then you can use your fingers, but I will typically go ahead and open it up by opening it like a jump ring. Not a jump ring, but just opening it. Okay, let's go ahead and put this on there. Okay. And the reason why I wanted to do a large loop too was because then if I wanted to hang a dangle or something, I can do that. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get that locked in. And so there's one time around, and then here's the second time. And I am only going to go the 2 times around because I don't want a bunch of length. Okay. All right, then what I'm going to do is I will tuck that in, but after I get this all put in place. So let's just make sure that this is stuffed in there, up against, and let's go here. Then let's go ahead and give it a trim. Okay, let's go ahead and come in. And I'm actually going to come in a little bit more than normal so that I can fit those 2 loops. So if you don't know, then you just come here and you go, okay, that is about where 2 loops is. So then you just come in with your chain nose pliers to give it that bend, because that bend is going to tell you where your oh my goodness, how long your neck is going to be. So I'm actually going to turn this around and do it on the smaller side because I don't need a big loop on this side. Okay. And then I'm just going to push that back and roll. I just roll with my wrist to get that in. And look, that's still a good size loop. And I have to remember to put this on. Okay. And just close it up. Again, you can use your fingers with those too, but I don't know, 18 gauge. And even though this is craft wire, it's still thick. Okay, and there's 2. Oh man, I need to have 3. Well, that's okay because as we bend. Okay. Whew. Okay. Okay, so now that I have those trimmed, now I can go ahead and come in and tuck in that little nubby there. Okay. Okay, there we go. And then let's tuck in this side. Then if you want, you can dangle something from this, you know, this larger loop here. And there we go. Oh my goodness. And then because you're using wire, you can actually form that. And so then also too, let's get this to go through. There we go. Oops. Did I not get it to go through? Okay. Since I have those smaller beads there, I'm able to get that through. Now, I'd probably do this a little different. I probably would add a jump ring. So I'm probably going to go back and add a jump ring on there. So here are 2 finished projects using the Rainbow Tourmaline Double Gemstones Beads of the Month Club from Adornable Elements. We also brought in some craftwire 18 gauge from Softlex Company, some pipe chain and pipe chain end caps from SilverSilk and more. Be sure to check them out. What else did we bring in? We brought in toggle clasp from the Antique Silver Assortment number 9 Findings Companion Pack, also from Adornable Elements, as well as a past months. This was 4, so I guess it would be 4 months ago or 5 months ago. And we also used a toggle clasp from there. Be sure to give this video a huge thumbs up if you like it. Comment. I love to see what everybody has to say. Be sure to use Bella10 when placing your first subscription order at Adornable Elements, and I'll put links in the description below for everything. And subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. And until next time, have a good one.